Targa Newfoundland, an automotive adventure. Welcome to the newest sporting event to hit North America. Cars and drivers from as far away as California and Australia have come here to compete in a week-long car rally on Newfoundland's many spectacular roads through cities, towns, and open country. Historic, classic, and modern models race the clock one at a time through special stages on roads blocked off to regular traffic. There's even a trials category for those who want to compete at a more sedate pace without roll bars and helmets. So we've got something for everyone. Hi, I'm Jim Kenzie here in St. John's. In the spring of 2001, Doug Mepham and I drove this car, a 1971 Volvo, in the Targa, Tasmania. This is a 6-day car rally throughout the island of Tasmania. Unbelievable event. Hundreds and hundreds of kilometers of roads that are closed to the public for 4, 5, 6 hours, so lunatics like us can drive as fast as we want to go. Where could you ever do something like that in North America? And we thought, well, if you had an island where you could kind of control things, and if you had a welcoming population, and if they needed a few tourism dollars, that wouldn't hurt. And I thought, Targa Newfoundland, why not? 16 months later, we're all loading our rally cars onto the ferry for the overnight trip to Newfoundland. Now, some drivers, like Georgetown, Ontario's Judd Buchanan, he's done this before. Let the rally begin. But you can tell from the apprehension on the face of Ottawa's Craig Seco, this is something new for him and for his beautiful car.
Declare this officially Targa Newfoundland officially open.
That's Newfoundland's Tourism Minister Julie Bettany, and Premier Grimes is a passenger beside Australian John Lawson in his 1938 Alfa Romeo. This $1 million car from halfway around the globe is one of only 3 ever built. There's a 1955 Austin Healey 100S, a Subaru WRX, and Newfoundland's faster pastor, Edison Wiltshire, driving a Citroën Traxxas Avant from 1951. This is Tom McGear of Ontario in a 64 Falcon. Whoa! Now, Tom is a 5-time Canadian rally champion, but he's used to gravel roads, not pavement. Not a great beginning to this rally week. Car owner, co-driver Mark Williams of the Maryland is not happy, but Newfoundlanders show their famous resourcefulness to help him scour local barns and wrecking yards for parts. With the help of his new friends, McGear and Williams will be ready to start the rally.
Whenever you see a racer in trouble, everybody else comes to the fore. We probably had about 15 or 16 people here through the night last night doing different things to help us out, and it's just amazing. I mean, this is what racing's all about. They've saved our bacon, as it were.
I didn't kill Tom for bending my car, yes. I have to admit I was still quite mad, upset for a little while, and then I thought to myself, this is exactly the type of adventure that I cherish in these events.
Adventure even in the Prologue around St. John's, 2 special stages that qualify the car's order for the Targa. The cars compete a minute apart with the slowest cars first. This is a 65 Sunbeam Tiger driven by contractor Peter Sullivan and navigated by lawyer Jonathan Fryer, both of Dover, Massachusetts. Now, Sullivan is known as Black Flag Pete for going off the road in New England races. He's a pretty quick driver, but we got fog and rain here. Now, that car was just built last week, and it looks like it's going to have to be rebuilt. The undercarriage is pretty badly damaged. They're hoping to get back in the race, but look at that right front wheel. Australian car dealers Len and Gail Catlin brought this absolutely beautiful right-hand drive 64 Mustang Fastback all the way from Oz. Like several other teams here this week, they're veterans of the Targa Tasmania. But they've really fallen in love with Newfoundland.
It's absolutely gorgeous. It's just a shame we don't see a bit more of it. When we're going along those roads, we're going so fast and I don't get a chance to see the scenery.
Everybody's so friendly. It's fantastic. Targa really is a terrific way to compete in a motor car rather than circuit type race.
To keep all these varied cars competitive, organizers have set target times for each category and class of car on every stage. The goal is to take your car to its limit, but a great driver could win in a modern car or a vintage machine. The Targa Newfoundland is brought to you in part by the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. The Prologue is past, the racing begins when we come back. It's the first day of competition for the inaugural Targa Newfoundland, and the locals are loving it.
Newfoundlanders are a rare breed, and we don't get a lot of excitement, and that's probably why we let them do things like this.
Excitement? You want excitement? We've got excitement. This is Marine Drive on the Avalon Peninsula, just outside of St. John's. It's wet and foggy, so the drivers have to be particularly careful. Now, this is a lovely 1970 Volvo P1800 running in the Classic Division. It's a father and son team from Kitchener, Ontario, Stephen McCrory driving with his dad, John, navigating. Here's Michael Salter and co-driver Richard Patterson in Salter's Austin Healey 100S, also in the Classic category. This is not a day for a convertible, with the temperature and a light drizzle both falling. This particular Healey model is one of only 55 ever built, a rare, valuable, and beautiful car. But Targa drivers believe their cars, no matter how much they're worth, are meant to be driven, not put into museums. Salter and Patterson were boyhood friends in New Zealand. They came to Canada to make a few bucks picking tobacco. They met two sisters in Toronto, married them, and they've lived there ever since. Uh-oh, it looks like that Volvo was crashed. It's blocking the road. Here comes the Healey. Hope Salter sees the Volvo. Can he get around it? He sees it. Ah, he can't do it. A lot of damage here. The 67 Acadian edges past the two wrecked cars carefully. Volvo driver McCrory is embarrassed.
Rookie mistake. Lasted over the crest and just started sliding, and that's all I remember.
Mike Salter is upset, understandably.
Came around as fast as I could go, and there's a Volvo right in the middle of the road. No warning signals, nothing. Tried to brake, couldn't stop, and couldn't quite squeeze between him and the guardrail.
Driver and navigator are okay, but the car has sustained considerable damage. Still, Salter figures somebody built this car by hand in 1955. He'll find someone to rebuild it. He will be back. Stage 2 in Flat Rock, a Newfoundland entry here. Scott Gnu, who is driving a 1972 Porsche 911 Targa, navigated by American automotive journalist Tim Winker. Here's the view from inside the Porsche. Can you imagine trying to read a book at speeds like this? The 1938 Alfa Romeo again. Engineer Andrew Lawson is driving today with his father John navigating. They tend to have their little disagreements. Let's listen.
Keep going. You're slow. Keep going. Go for your load.
Next is a 1965 Mustang driven fast by former Formula Atlantic racer Jeremy Hill and navigated by car owner Lennox McNeely, both of Toronto. Scott Gnu didn't jump the start there, did he? Here's his views on racing versus rally.
My background really is in karting, so I like turns, lots of them. I like the rhythm of a road course.
The difference is that in a road course, you know which way the corners are going. Here, Navigator Winker has to tell you to turn left. Now, at the start of Stage 5 in beautiful Holyrood, the drivers finally get a chance to enjoy the scenery. Now, this is the Hers Porsche, a 1963 356 brought all the way from Australia. Driver Gareth Buckingham, co-driver Carol Fitzgerald. The ladies are doing extremely well in this rally. Why not? They've got a lot of experience. Gareth is a retired teacher who used to navigate for her husband. She decided she would rather drive, but we'll see his Porsche a bit later in the show. Now, notice the steering wheel is on the wrong side of the car.
Exposure. I guess that means that bloody great drop there. Oh.
Now, we've seen this car being loaded on the ferry. And that shy, retiring chap is Chip Johns from New Mexico and his co-driver Rommel Torres, a native of El Paso, Texas. Their 1965 Ford Falcon Rally Sprint was one of a handful built to compete in European rallies like the Monte Carlo in the mid-60s. Johns has raced it in Tasmania and in the infamous Pan Americana event. His motto is, drive it like you stole it. Now, every fan has his favorite car.
63 Vet, I think is the nicest car.
Yellow Mustang.
The Aqua Corvette. I like the Viper. She got power. I've always wanted a Viper. 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 It's wicked. It just warmed me up.
Isn't it great to see kids loving real cars and not just video games? Now, this beautiful 97 Dodge Viper GTS, owned and driven by Jerry Churchill, a resident of Detroit. He's got 40 years of racing experience, but this is his first rally. Same for navigator Jim Roxbury, also of Detroit. Now, Jerry complained earlier about the condition of some of the roads here, and he's from Michigan? Well, the real problem is that this car was built for smooth racetracks. Its front spoiler is just 4 centimeters off the ground. Still, the crowds love this roaring car. Oh, hear that spoiler crunch? Now, with help from his newfound friends, North American Rally champ McGear has Williams Falcon running again. The racing style limited slip differential was damaged in the crash. They're running now with standard parts and hoping they'll hold up to the strains of racing. PR guru Doug Mepham of Belleville, Ontario, and myself, we're taking turns driving this rolling refrigerator, the 1971 Volvo 142S. This is Mepham at the wheel now.
This is an automobile adventure. This isn't necessarily just a sporting event, it's an adventure, and that means all the things that you encounter in the course of a week and the opportunity to meet a lot of really wonderful people. This is really a lot about people.
Now, this is a hot contender in the modern class, an all-wheel drive Porsche 911 Turbo driven by Mark Saxby. Co-driver is accountant Martin Reese, and they're both from Hobart, Tasmania. Let's hear what really goes on inside the car.
Straight on over this one, I think. Yep. Bumps. One, another one. Right 5. Road goes left. Straight.
A 1999 BMW M Coupe is next, driven by businessman Bill Arnold, navigated by accountant Tamara Hull. They brought this car all the way from San Rafael, California. They've done some American road racing, but neither has much rally experience.
We have not done a Targa-style rally or much any rally at all.
We do race on paved racetracks, but not on paved streets, so this will be different. There's no real track maps telling you, oh, this is the turn and this is the banking, you know, so be figuring it out as we go.
The Bimmer was one of the very few cars without a special rally computer and was calibrated in miles, so Tammy had to convert each instruction from kilometers at the start of each day. The current leaders in the Trials division, Alan and Carolyn Ryle from Georgetown, Ontario, in their Subaru WRX. They're following the racing line, but they can't break that speed limit. And everywhere we go in this beautiful province, we get a great reception from friendly Newfoundlanders, like here at Beachy Cove School for today's lunch break. 500 kids and their teachers came out in the rain to get autographs, admire the cars, and meet their heroes, the drivers, and us navigators too. Just wait till you see the action on day 2. That's coming up after this. We're back for the second day of competition at the Targa Newfoundland. I'm Jim Kenzie.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Those are words that Ken Batstone and Adam Sparks never thought they'd hear this morning. Yesterday, the St. John's street racers crashed their slammed Fast and Furious Honda Civic big time, but a heroic overnight effort by a group of family and friends has them back in the rally. Whoa, maybe not for long if they keep that up.
It's the best time I've ever had. Excellent, excellent. I'm going to be here 5 years in a row for sure. It's a 2000 with ours end pretty much of a 99 now because we ripped it off on Tuesday. We're going to finish no matter what it takes.
How's that for spirit? And speaking of spirit, over 1,800 Newfoundlanders volunteered to help run this event. Most of them had never seen a rally before. The organizers had to train them as starters, marshals, and timekeepers. 38 towns and over 50 local organizing committees were involved. Since the roads had to be closed to regular traffic, every driveway, every intersection had to be blocked off with plastic tape, over 400 miles of it. The fans have to be taught where it is safest to stand and where a spinning car might end up. The timekeepers clock out each car at the end of each of the 33 stages over this week-long event. Communication is vital. Global Star contributed satellite phones, and the Canadian Army provided crew and equipment. And with 4 categories of cars and a 40-page rulebook, thank God for computers. Now, with race cars like Bob English's Kia Rio in the neighborhood, residents put up with blocked driveways and road closed signs in return for some excitement. The volunteers also washed competitors' cars at the end of each long day.
Targa Newfoundland has become all about we, not me, and that's the byword of the event. It's brought people together who never have worked together before. Community differences have been shed over this. Communities have even helped communities, which was always a tradition here, but kind of drifted away a little bit. So I am just so intensely proud now as Newfoundlander. You can't believe it.
We have never done a sports car rally or a car rally of any type in Newfoundland and Labrador of any significance. So they said, you know, are you willing to reach out a bit and see if we can't interest these people in coming to this province? And I said, absolutely. If you've got enough energy, enough organizational skills to go and do it, we'll partner with you, see if we can make it happen.
It's day 2 in Marystown. We'll run 6 stages around the Burin Peninsula today before overnighting in Clarenville. Now in this area, there was some concern before the rally about safety, so the competitors were told to restrict their speed through the town. For thousands of fans, there was some disappointment.
You'd like to see him go a little faster?
I'd like to see it a little bit faster, though.
Now, Chip Johns from New Mexico says he didn't bring his Ford Falcon Rally Sprint all this way, not to race, but he's still having fun.
It is just absolutely beautiful here. And I can't wait to get some of my buddies to get their act together and build some cars and come on up here and play with us. This is really fun up here.
Are you driving as fast as you'd like?
No, well, not at all. And that's something we're going to discuss with Big Bob.
Now, local heroes Richard Squires and Albert Kenny certainly seem to be going pretty fast in their Mustang LX 5.0. The fans love the growl of that V8 motor. Now, the Targa Newfoundland is giving these young motorsport enthusiasts a safe, sanctioned, and legal way to enjoy their chosen sport. These kids are learning a lot this week about car preparation, about driving, and about the fellowship of rallying. Now, here's Jerry Churchill in that sexy Dodge Viper, enjoying that 500 horsepower. Let's listen to his navigator. He can't tell him which way to go. Somebody better be paying attention there, Jerry. That beautiful Newfoundland scenery, it's pretty distracting. Now, Jerry owns the largest trucking company in the Midwestern United States, over 100 trucks. I don't know if any of them have 500 horsepower like this Viper, and you got to admire Jerry for putting that business aside for a week and coming out here to this new type of rallying. First time he's ever done something like this. He's having the time of his life, and he too has already said he's coming back next year. Now, here are experienced Targa Tasmania competitors, Len and Gail Catlin, piloting that gorgeous Mustang through the town of Mortier.
Got 1K to go before I've got a call.
A Mustang from Australia? You bet. The Aussies love these big American V8s as much as we do. And so do the fans. They love these German cars too. Here's Tasmanian Saxby and Reese. Fast car, fast driver, and a navigator well-versed in what it takes to succeed in Targa events like this one, or the granddaddy of them all, the Targa Tasmania.
Here we've got fast bits, then little town bits, then bump bits and jump bits, so it's a contrast within a stage, whereas Tasmania, each stage is predictable, so it's considerably different. It's probably harder, I guess. Yeah, it's more challenging.
Now, Saxby has also complained that he has yet to see a moose, but he does get to pass another car. Let's listen to what goes on inside.
One crest, 2 crests, immediate left 4. Here's your left 4, wait for after left 4, then you can go. He's letting you go. You're fine, cool. Right 5. Left 5, you can now back off.
Here are local heroes Richard Squires and Albert Kenny again in their Mustang LX. They're boogieing right along here, enjoying the power of this car. But don't forget, lads, you might have to turn or brake one of these days.
God knows where. We're on the one road, it may be the wrong road, but we're together now, who cares? Northmen, Southmen, comrades all, Dublin, Belfast, Cork, and Donegal. We're on the one road, swinging along, we're singing a song.
We'll be right back.
Our troubles now.
Around here, they call icebergs Labrador's Navy. Welcome back to the Targa Newfoundland. Day 3 starts on the beautiful North Bonavista coast. Everywhere we go, the rally is getting incredible support.
The old town itself is shut down, basically.
We have a major fish plant here that is shut down for the morning. Our schools are closed today. They're waiting for the cars to come through. Everybody in town is absolutely delighted with today's events.
As the event wears on, the Targa times get harder to achieve. To start the day, 7 teams, including ours, are tied for the overall lead with clean scores, which is rally speak for 0 penalty points. But that won't last. Tasmania's Mark Saxby and his all-wheel drive Porsche Turbo is one of the clean teams so far.
Straight on, 400, caution, right 3, long left 3.
Inside the car, we can see the driver and navigator wear helmets and fireproof Nomex driving suits. The car has a full cage and 5-point racing seatbelts. Safety is everybody's business.
Long, long, hold, hold.
The Porsche is in the fastest class and so has the fastest bogey times to beat. Saxby can't quite get it done here at Musgrave Harbor. He takes a 21-second penalty, but he's still up among the leaders. Here's Tom McGear and Mark Williams Falcon. This car is older, so it has easier times to beat. McGear is up to the task and remains tied for first overall. His attention is firmly focused on the Mustang of Jeremy Hill and Lennox McNeely.
I was surprised with Jeremy's pace. He was moving fast and he took a big chunk of time out of us. So we started to go for it. If I can even come close to him, I'm pretty happy myself. So he's done his rallying on a lot of gravel roads and whatnot too, and my experience comes on asphalt, so we're probably on a pretty even keel all around.
Think of these Targa times like a golf handicap. It's a way to keep all these diverse entries competitive. How else could an old Alfa or a little Kia compete against a Porsche Turbo or a Dodge Viper? Here's Jack McDonald as he races his sweet 76 Datsun 280Z to a penalty-free run through Musgrave Harbor. Now the other Ford Falcon Rally Sprint, driven by Chip Johns, also cleans the stage. He's just behind arch rivals McGear and Hill. Now this is Judd Buchanan's Hot Rod 67 Acadian, which Judd races in Ontario solo events. He blew the clutch in Musgrave Harbor, phoned a sponsor in Toronto who waited at a race shop while they made another one. The parts were then hand-carried by Air Canada personnel to Judd's team in Gander to get the car back in the fight. Now as the cars race through the villages, citizens grabbed front row seats to watch the show. Towns that were left off this year's route are already begging to be included next year.
When you are doing a Targa stage and you see a sign that says 20 and you look down and you're doing 120. So that makes it interesting.
She's talking about speed limit signs here in kilometers, not miles. Now here's John Cassidy's Subaru from Maine. John won the entry to this event as a prize at another rally just last week. He's obviously comfortable in the dirt. Now the crowds love the Viper and the Porsches, but the biggest cheers are always reserved for the 2 Mustang V8s from St. John's. Here Richard Squires flies the Newfoundland flag, but he either needs a bigger flag or bigger brakes. Now the next stage is a blast through the town of Carmenville around the picturesque hamlet of Noggin Cove and into Fredericton. Here are Doug Mepham and me in our 71 Volvo, the same car we ran in the Targa Tasmania.
And you're straight.
I ask you, how calm can a navigator be?
This whole thing is quite surreal. It's drive a stage, take the helmet off, relax for 40 minutes, stop, get out of the car, go to the gas station. You're standing here pumping gas in your Nomex suit with your helmet under your arm, pumping gas. People going by, going in to buy bread and gasoline. Into the car again, drive another stage. The whole thing is surreal after a while, and you get tired, and you get into this funny little surreal zone that just transports you.
Now, speaking of surreal, who would ever thought that a 1938 Alfa Romeo would be driving on the roads of Newfoundland? But this car is leading its historic class because of the father and son team who are sharing the navigating and driving duties.
Nothing until 2.3.
We trust each other. The essence of
co-driver-driver relationship is you've got to trust the person you're driving with. Otherwise it's dangerous. You feel scared, and you can't afford to feel scared travelling.
Now 60 years later, twin turbos, 400 horsepower and all-wheel drive.
Turn left 3, turn right 4, turn right 4, turn left 4, left 4, left 4. My mistake, left 4.
You may be on the other side of the
200
road, guys, but
meters,
left
caution,
is
right,
still left. Now, all kidding aside, the Australians created this form of motorsport event, and they're very good at it. 6 teams made the trip up from down under. Now, they say there are 3 things married couples should not do if they want to stay together: sail competitively, play bridge, or go car rallying. Peter and Kareth Buckingham follow this rule. We saw Kareth's hers Porsche earlier. This is Peter's his Porsche, a 1965 911. His is 1 spot ahead of hers at this point. But Len and Gail Catlin are married, and they get along fine. The Melbourne, Australia residents are just 3 seconds behind the 2 Canadian teams of McGear-Williams and Hill-McNeely. Catlin feels this event is really going to catch on.
It's the same as Targa Tasmania started off the same way. And once the people got behind, more motorsport people came to it, the more they find out that Targa really is a terrific way to compete in a motor car, rather than circuit type race.
Immediate turn left. Then a 200, turn right downhill. Watch the car, there's a car off here. Oh no, it's a caution. 200, turn right downhill, then 4 left. Go out past them.
That's the 93 Mustang of local lads Daniel Goss and Mike Evans, who've done a bit of high-speed farming. They do get dug out, though, and carry on.
Watch it into a keep long left.
The idyllic lifestyle of tonight's overnight stop was altered forever on September 11, 2001, when virtually every transatlantic flight was redirected to Ganders Airport. Needless to say, the unexpected guests were welcomed with open arms. Now, Danny Goss from Paradise, Newfoundland, looks like he's done this before. His technique here is more getaway driver than race driver, but the kids love his style. Now, to keep costs down, Targa rules limit cars to only 6 tires over the entire event. Clearly, Danny isn't worried about conserving his tires on this one. Here's a classic rally turn. You've got a little flick to the left and a hard right. Well, the exit isn't quite so classic, but it does keep it on the island. Now, the top teams were supposed to average 120 clicks through the twisting streets of this Gander suburb. Nobody comes close. Everyone takes a penalty, and the whole complexion of the rally changes. Jeremy Hill on his strategy.
40 corners, left-brake combination. My problem was I was trying to save the brakes. I didn't want to run out of brakes before the end, and I could have pushed a bit harder.
Hill and McNeely had been tied for the lead before this stage, but the twisties dropped them into 4th. Now, can you imagine racing on streets like this? Only in Newfoundland, you say? Well, sadly, no. Street racing is a problem across North America. But this is Targa rallying. It's a new, safe way to get that adrenaline rush. Here's Doug Mepham's take on it.
It felt like a video game at one point, you know. You try to figure out where it was going to go next. It was just one of those things where you take your chances, and it was great fun, and I'm sure everybody has the same complaint. Whatever gear you have, they're wrong.
Even the 500 horsepower Viper could only average 76 kilometers an hour through here. That's 49 miles an hour. This is a tight course. Now, Tom McGear gives up 40 seconds here. The Falcon isn't really suited to this sort of test.
There's a lot of unknown factors here, and certainly one of the big ones is the age of the cars and the roughness of the roads. That's just something that you can't factor in.
A young Craig Seco's Porsche was an excellent third fastest through here, and John Lawson tosses the old Alfa around at 60 kilometers an hour. Again, the older cars have easier to meet target times. Now, the big winners at Gander were the Catlins. They wisely reckoned this stage could win the entire rally, and Len goes all out.
290, 4 left.
A blistering average speed of 79 kilometers an hour puts the Aussie Mustang alone in first place, 37 seconds ahead of McGear and Williams. As always in Targa rallies, the fastest cars run last, so the final run will be by Saxby and Rees in the Turbo Porsche. If anyone can catch the Catlins, it'll be these chaps. Here we are in just the second corner. That engine sounds a bit rough. And did I see a puff of smoke there?
300.
Well, from the CHC helicopter.
Get it smoother?
Oh, we're starting to see major smoke
Turn
now.
left 3 after the 300. You got left 3 at the end here.
I'm afraid
left
Saxby's flat 6 engine is now a flat 5.
50, right 3.
Like most of the teams, these guys have only brought a few
50
essential
right
spare
3.
pants, no pistons.
Turn left 3.
You can get just about anything at Canadian Tire, but pistons for a 911 turbo? No, their race is run.
It just went bang and it's all over for us, so it's a major rebuild of the motor. But up until then, we were having a lot of fun, I can tell you. But not to happen. We'll go back to Australia and go back and do a bit of work for a change.
For me, it was upsetting because I really enjoy that car, and the guys travel all the way from Australia, and it's too bad that they're not going to finish the event.
Newfoundlanders flock to the parking garages each night to inspect the cars. Now, some competitors have repairs to make. We had electrical woes, and so did Jack McDonald and that Datsun. But we both got local help, and we're both okay. Batstone and Sparks are still studying that Honda right. When the work's done, the party's begun. A part of this is a screeching in ceremony, which involves kissing a codfish, eating a bit of fish, and downing a shot of a potent brew called Screech. You can see what these Aussies think of that taste. It's all part of the fun of the Targa Newfoundland, a thrilling week-long event, the first of its kind in North America. We'll be right back. Welcome back to day 4 of the Targa Newfoundland. Today we're running north from Gander, 3 stages totaling 50 kilometers of closed roads, and that's all before lunch. We're in Norris Arm here, riding with modern class leaders Bill Arnold and Cammy Hull in their BMW M Coupe. Now, most rallies last one day, but this event is like an entire season of motorsport packed into one intense week. Now, we run through the town of Botwood, a small town with a fascinating history and a museum. That was the base for the Pan Am Clipper flying boats, the first commercial transatlantic flights in 1938, and an important air and sea base during the war. But John Lawson won't be putting his Alpha into a museum. It was built to race. Now, Jerry Churchill couldn't get the Viper started this morning in Gander. He had to try and make up some time. That can be dangerous and expensive, as we'll see later. Now, after Botwood, the course runs through Point Leamington to Leading Tickles. This 32-kilometer stage is a beautiful drive, and the roads are so smooth and so fast that all the top contenders clear it. No penalty points here, but it was not without risk.
How was it?
We were completely airborne back there,
Oh,
and we almost lost the car.
Now, American John Cassidy was pushing very hard in his 92 Subaru Impreza, and at the entrance to Leading Tickles, he crested the hill just a little bit off the ideal line. Instant replay? We got instant replay. A rally fan caught this shot on his handy cam. It could have been serious, but no damage was done. And the Subaru will continue. Now, the setting of Leading Tickles is one of the most spectacular in all of Newfoundland. Right at the top of the mountain is a new park with gorgeous views in all directions. This is where the Targa stopped for lunch, and of course, another party. Now here's where Jerry Churchill's catch-up strategy ran aground. An RCMP officer clocked a red Viper speeding on a transit section. It wasn't too hard to track Jerry down and give him a big ticket. He wasn't happy, but he still gave the kids autographs.
This land is my land, from Bonavista, Vancouver Island, from
Chip Johns wakes up. We're now on stage 23, leaving Leading Tickles. Here's McDonald's Datsun. He's averaging 129 kilometers an hour on the run down to Point Leamington. It's a beautiful setting for a beautiful car. You know, the original Z car, as the Americans say, back in 1970, basically put the British sports car industry on the trailer. This car was a gorgeous piece of work and tremendous value and tremendous performance, too. Here's Tom McGeer and Mark Williams. They're second overall and also second in the classic category.
If your partner signed a boat, if your partner Sally Brown, oh, we're pulling in Morton's Harbor all around the circle. We don't want your maggoty fish, that's no good for winter. I can buy as good as that way down in Bonavista. If your partner signed a boat, if your partner Sally Brown, oh, we're pulling in Morton's Harbor all around the circle.
The speeds haven't been particularly high at the moment. Now we're starting to get down to the real race, and now it's starting to get fun.
I can wind into a dance space that she can travel. Every step that she to take was upwards, dirt and dirt. If your partner signed a boat, if your partner...
I'm more than happy with that car. It gives you good fun to drive it, and it's got good colour, and no, it's the ideal car. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Immediate four right.
We've used it for 3 years now in events, and we've had, you know, a good run with it. We broke down at the very end of Targa Tasmania last year, which was really unfortunate. We were on the very last stage, and so we missed our Targa trophy.
Got 700.
Tuck your petticoat on your shirt and don't go near the water. If your partner signed a boat, if your partner Sally Brown, oh, we're pulling in Morton's Harbor all around the circle. Here we go, guys, all by yourselves. So I's the buy that builds the boat. I's the buy that catches the fish. Oh, if your partner signed the boat. Oh, we're pulling in Morton's Harbor all around the circle. I's the buy that builds the boat. I's the buy that sails her. I's the buy that catches the fish and brings them home to line.
Here's the BMW M Coupe from California again. This is proving to be a great choice for the Targa Modern category. Bill and Tammy are in fact leading this class, which is for cars built after 1977. When the event is over, they're going to strap a luggage box to the roof and drive the car back home to the United States. Tammy wants to go faster. Now, St. John's driver Scott Gnu and his Minnesotan navigator Tim Winker have their 72 Porsche 911 in 5th overall. And when you figure that this is Scott's first ever drive in a rally, and he only met Tim the day before the rally started, that's a very impressive performance. Now, Jeremy Hill and Lennox McNeely are driving a very smart rally. The veteran sports car racer knows how to drive smoothly, posting fast times, but saving the car and, most importantly, his tires. Now, there was some controversy early in the event about some teams perhaps using illegal rubber, shaved racing tires. Well, McNeely needed rubber for his Mustang. He went to Canadian Tire and bought a set. You can't get more street legal than that. Now, tires aren't the Lawson's problem. It's really the brakes.
The brakes on a 64-year-old car are something less than perfect, so, but the car is running very well. To end the day and virtually have the car running well, and that's fantastic.
I don't think the average person knows what goes through the drivers and co-drivers and crew. This is a big commitment. Emotionally, you know, your car mightn't sound right. It might break down. You've got to fix it. You're there for the long haul. It really takes perseverance, I got to tell you.
This is one of the most lovely bits of road.
And we'll be back with more lovely bits of road after this. Welcome back to the Targa Newfoundland. I'm Jim Kenzie. Well, this is the home stretch. The whole week has been building up to this final day. We have 8 stages today, each getting progressively tougher as the rally runs from Clarenville, down around Cape St. Mary's, across the Avalon Peninsula to Bay Bulls, and finally back to St. John's. The Lawson family starts today 3rd overall, but their engine is sounding a little bit rough. Another Aussie team, the Catlins, have a 37-second lead over Canadian and North American champion Tom McGeer and Mark Williams, but they can't afford to make any mistakes. Now, if Jack McDonald knew what this day would bring, he might have stayed in bed, because that's where he ended up. Looks like trouble for the Lawsons.
It's running on 5 cylinders. Clearly one of the pistons has let go, I think. But we will try and drive it to the end, and we'll try and drive it through the last stage if we possibly can.
Now, this is stage 27, Dunville-Placentia. Now, only McGear and Hill made it through within their target times. Catlin dropped 7 seconds, but he continues to lead. We're following Jack McDonald and Carson Rasmussen as they enter Placentia. The weather is cold and the road is damp. Now, some Newfoundlanders like to watch from a boat, but I rather prefer our CHC helicopter shot here. Now, Jack, this is a sharp right turn coming in. You're a little bit too far to the right there. Look, oh, the brakes are locked up. Oh, no. Parts into the ocean. That's a big one. Now, McDonald doesn't realize it, but he is injured and will spend the next 2 days in hospital. Carson gets out of the car to warn following drivers and later blames himself for not giving Jack enough warning for this corner.
We were all anxious about this turn because even our ordinary driving, it's difficult, especially in wintertime, so we were anxious, and we weren't surprised when the accident happened there.
Now, the next car on the scene is the BMW M Coupe. Look out! But they can see that both drivers are out of the wreck and walking around, so they keep going. Stage 31, Petty Harbor. The last 3 stages will be a fight between Hill McNeely in the 65 Mustang and McGear Williams in the 64 Falcon. To take over second place, Jeremy Hill has to gain 12 seconds on McGear. Don't worry about those tires now, Jeremy. Just go flat out. Whoa, looks like Jeremy has picked up a thing or two about gravel driving. Hill takes a penalty of just 1 second, so it's now up to Tom McGear. Here's Doug Mepham and I in our rolling refrigerator Volvo, cruising along at 124 kilometers an hour. Now, I'm an automotive journalist by profession. Normally, I'm driving, but I'm still having a good time in the right seat, and I'm coming back next year. Now, the week appears to be taking its toll on some of the older guys.
I think the navigators start to double-check their own work after a while. They know how tired they get, and they'll hand over the board to the driver and say, is this math right? I can't remember anymore what 9 and 1 is.
Yeah, Doug, except the navigators have to remind the drivers which way is left. Now, the Targa is all about driving your car to the limit. McGear's Falcon doesn't handle as well as the Mustang. McGear gives it his best shot, but finishes 6 seconds behind Hill.
So, well, we're going to really have to push if we're going to pull this out. You know, can I push your car, or do I have to baby it? I was like, no, go for it. You know, that's why we're here, is to push the car hard, not to baby it. It's not a show car.
Len Catlin's not feeling the same pressure as McGear at the Petty Harbor stage. He'll be 3rd fastest here behind the other 2 Fords. Listen to that motor. Doesn't that sound great? Now, Newfoundlanders are turning out in droves to watch this rally. You talk about a ringside seat. Well, these kids have got a cliffside seat. Newfoundlanders, they're real car nuts. Now, the Lawsons are driving their limping Alfa Romeo to the finish. This car could easily be worth $1 million, but they don't put it on a trailer. They'd rather risk blowing up the irreplaceable motor than to not finish. That's the Targa spirit. Now, the Lawsons will win the historic class. The modern category has been dominated by the California BMW crew of Bill Arnold and Tammy Hull. They finished 5th overall. Now, back to the fight for second place. On the second last stage, Hill closes to within 2 seconds of McGear, and then on the final stage, just 2 turns from the end of this 2,000-kilometer rally, McGear loses it. Now, it's not the spin that's costly, it's the fact that it takes a long time to restart the engine. Electrical problems. In the end, a hard-fought second place goes to Jeremy Hill and Lennox McNeely. But at the finish line, the winner overall by 42 seconds, Len Catlin and Gail Catlin from Melbourne, Australia. That's it, the final checkpoint. They've come all the way from Australia to win the first ever Targa Newfoundland. Now we go from racing in the streets to partying in the streets. This is George Street in downtown St. John's. The memories will last forever. The driving, the scenery, the fun, but mostly the friendships.
The people here have been fantastic, really, really friendly, and we've had a ball.
We've learned a lot about Newfoundland. The conditions are different. I think the thing is well on its way. The main thing is to learn from the experience and set it up. It was very well run though.
I kept saying today was the payoff for finishing the event and being here on the last day, because the two best roads for the first 2 or 3 sections, it reminded us of Highway 1 in California. It was really nice. Beautiful by the ocean, everything. That was the best. Plus we passed Jerry and the Viper both times.
It definitely was worth the trip. It most definitely
We're
was
already
great.
making plans for next year.
Now, Doug and I have been doing this twice ever. This time we actually managed to win a medal. We're actually 4th overall. We're pretty happy with that. The most amazing thing about this event, though, is the people of Newfoundland. If you've never been to this province, boy, oh, you're really missing something. So if you've got a car that's eligible to go rallying, look up the website, targanewfoundland.com. Come and join us here next year. Boyos, you'll be having a fine time too. I'm Jim Kenzie. Hope you've enjoyed this Patterson-Partington TV2Go production.